Elon Musk is the richest person in the world currently, but
Publicly, no.
publicly.
Hmm.
But he wants to approve. He wants to have a $1 trillion compensation plan approved in a letter to investors and Tesla's board. He
Hmm.
um, he shared why he thought that this would be appropriate and pretty much said like if he doesn't get what he wants, then he's going to walk away from the company that he's made obviously famous and one of the most valuable companies in world history. Now it's important to keep in mind here. This payout package actually comes with benchmarks that have to be met.
Yep.
So the 1 trillion is the last like
The grand
part
total.
of it.
Yeah.
If Tesla's valuation gets to $8.5 trillion, then his payout, then he'll earn $1 trillion over the course of that time. So the 8.5 is a lot from where it is now. I think it's at a little bit more than 1 trillion right now.
Mhm.
So
I can tell you right now.
that would be
1.4.
Yeah.
a tremendous gain from where it currently is, but it gives him an incentive. Now, some people will say, okay, well, he already has a lot of Tesla stock. So even if like he's going to make hundreds of billions of dollars just from the Tesla stock, and then from the compensation package, so why does he need an additional, and then, okay, it gets to 8 trillion, he gets 1 trillion, that's 14% of the company's valuation. That's kind of a lot just from a payment standpoint. But then they're like, okay, well, if it gets to $8 trillion, the investors, I mean, that's a good thing for investors, right? That means that you've made 600% on your money and nobody's going to be mad at that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's unprecedented that somebody would ask for a $1 trillion payment compensation package. So is that something that's reasonable? And as an investor, if anybody, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that's watching Market Mondays that might be invested in Tesla, and you should probably check wherever you're invested. You probably got to vote on this situation.
Yeah.
If you're invested in Tesla, is this something that you think you want to go through with, or do you feel comfortable risking Elon Musk walking away?
From a negotiation standpoint, I think he's done a fantastic job. To be very clear, they have some very tough benchmarks in him to hit before he even gets to the $8.5 trillion value to then get 1 trillion. But if we're going to be very honest, Elon's a once in a lifetime talent. And too often, boards that are not once in a lifetime talent wants to tell the once in a lifetime talent how they should operate. And given the business climate that we're in, even though this is probably the greatest era in my lifetime, we were talking about this yesterday, Troy, in terms of investing, this is probably the weakest class of non-exceptional companies that I ever seen that's publicly traded. So if he's seeing the gap, because let's be very clear, without Elon, Tesla essentially has no value, especially if he takes his talents to focus on Starlink primarily, which is the real gem of a company. I know it sounds like a lot. It is a lot of money. But if we're talking about driver of revenue, driver of ecosystem, driver of band, and I said this 2.5, 3 years ago, eventually he's going to go to chairman because Tesla's not the thing he wants to focus on. And now he's going to force his way to get 1 trillion or force a way out in terms of exit. And if you don't think this is having a significant impact, another once in a lifetime talent, Warren Buffett, for the first time, Berkshire got downgraded because the once in a lifetime talent is not in that seat. And because you have no great succession plan, no great product roadmap without him, he hasn't elevated corporate executives in the public so that the retail investor knows what will come next. He's in prime position to get this package. So without him, there is no company. In 2010, the stock was at $1.15. There's no value without him, if we're gonna be very honest.
Yeah, we had another once in a lifetime talent be voted out by his board by the name of Steve Jobs in 1985.
Didn't work. Shout out to Scully, wherever you at.
Yeah,
but
didn't work. This
did
won't
not
work.
work.
This will not work either. I think Elon has said that he wants a 25%. So that's part of it that makes it a little bit tricky. He wants a 25% voting control to stay fully committed. That's kind of like the threat, right? Like if I don't get a 25%, I'm going to take my focuses elsewhere. The problem is if he takes his focus elsewhere, what is Tesla? Because if you listen to the earnings call that they just had, they talked nothing about cars.
No.
There wasn't even a mention of cars. He did not mention anything about the vehicles.
Yep.
All autonomous,
robotics.
all robotics. I think he actually talked about like a robot doctor on the call, like preempted it. Didn't even get asked about it, but just decided that I'm just going to forward this information over. And so it goes back to how are they being valued, right? Is it just sediment? We talked about this yesterday.
Yep.
Some companies are just moving on set. It's not fundamentals at this point, right? Because Tesla, the automotive vehicle, when we looked at sales, I know sales were a little bit better this quarter, but for the past 2 years, they haven't been great. And we've watched the stock climb, and then it pulls back on weak earnings, and then the next day it's up $30. And then last year it dropped, and then people said, he's too focused on his government position. Then he decides I'm gonna pull back from the government, and he's back focused with Tesla.
Go back home.
Rise.
Yep.
So it's just moving on the sentiment of the CEO. If that CEO removes himself from that equation, you're in for a windfall.
$95.62 billion in revenue. Keynote though, gross margin 17%, net margin 5.57%. They can't afford to lose a generational talent. So it's a couple of ways to ruin a company. If you're an executive and you know that you're a once in a lifetime talent, and once again has not raised the profile of executive management, and all of the product roadmaps for the next 10 years is tied to you, they're between a rock and a hard place, unless they have an executive who is an incredible visionary. But all the incredible visionaries are tied to other companies. And also keep in the back of your mind, OpenAI was stolen from him.
He's credited as a co-founder for that, but it goes into that mind, that visionary mind. He is the visionary mind, right? Like
co-founder credit with no equity is
no equity.
Nobody's bigger than the program. And
well, no, I just want to say this before you go into something else, because when you think about maybe a year ago, we were talking about keeping the main thing, right? And Tesla was the main thing. And
I told you he was never going to stay there though.
It's generated enough revenue for him to now say, hey, I can take my talents elsewhere. I have Starlink, I have Neuralink, I have SpaceX, I have XAI.
This is one of my favorite segments with Rashad though. The program, come on.
Nobody's bigger than the program, but you can't negotiate with terrorists. And yeah, he
is the program though.
Nobody's bigger than the program.
But in Tesla's case,
that's
Elon is the program.
Then it's not a valuable company. Then if the company's stock is only
tied to one person,
then it's not a good company. Because say what you want about Apple, it's at an all-time high, almost 10 years after Steve Jobs died.
Yes, that's highest valuation ever. It hit $4 trillion today. But I'm saying
Microsoft
in the equation
is still running. Years after Bill Gates, years after Ballmer, it's still running.
In the equation of nobody's bigger than the program, who is Elon in that equation? Is he the program?
He's the program.
Yeah, I know that. I'm saying, is that what you're saying?
No.
If Tesla, what I'm saying is this.
Yeah.
There's two ways to look at Tesla. As a company that actually has real value and provides something that the world needs, as far as cars, and then potentially robots, and then autonomous driving, and in the next 50 years is going to be one of the most valuable companies in the world because of what they're providing, the services that they're providing.
Yeah.
Or it's a way to look at it as it's a company that's a decent company that provides decent products and has a rock star CEO.
And it's a lot of that. And if we're going to be very clear, Tesla has always been that. Tesla is not an exceptional innovation. Yes. Has it been a Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple? No, he was the driving force behind it. Is there other executive talent there that could take the realm? Yes. Will it have the blockbuster rise in performance? No.
Yeah.
And as an entrepreneur, though, Rashad, because I agree with your point about the program, The other part of the game is to be so exceptional to the company that you write the program. I just left from watching Tron the other day. Who makes the program is very important. Yes, I agree to the Steve Jobs point, but Tim Cook also, I'm not going to say he got lucky, but there's a way he created the value there in terms of being an operator and then getting in bed with certain people in hedge funds to make that a valuable company. You can also say that changed the structure of Apple, but you want to be so valuable that if you do leave, same way with Jordan and the Bulls, as an entrepreneur, that the value is with you if you're building the business.